Hi, I'm Danny Tan, and if you are here, you're in the right place. Today, we're talking about how to negotiate a senior role even when your manager is brand new to the team. So maybe your manager was let go or restructured into a different team, or you've gone through a reorganization and you're like, okay, I have a new manager. How do I talk to them about getting into a senior role, getting a title, getting a promotion? What does that look like? Do I need to wait until they're settled in? Can I tackle that now? And we will break that down in today's episode. But before we dive in case you haven't met yet, I'm Danny Tan. I'm a leadership coach and the founder of She Belongs Here, an organization that focuses on women and their belonging, whether it is in entrepreneurship or the workplace, especially leadership. And so if you are somebody who's been trying to find that feeling of belonging in that space, know that you are in the right place. I am a former VP of a billion-dollar company turned full-time entrepreneur. I went ahead and pivoted careers 5 times: PR, sales, merchandising, e-commerce, you name it, all while achieving 11 promotions in 11 years. I went from being a sample coordinator to the VP. And through all of that, I worked a lot when it came to developing teams, growing teams, and development overall when it comes to leadership. And so I a lot of times felt like I did not belong as being Asian Latina. I am mixed identity in so many different ways. I have Puerto Rican, Filipino, Chinese roots, and I am first gen. So first gen in the sense to graduate college in my immediate family, which led me to volunteering for a nonprofit called American You Do, which helps first gen college students get internships, which led me to this fascinating world of coaching and helping others, which is what I love so much. And so for today's episode, let's go ahead and talk about it. So I have a couple clients right now. One who was on leave and came back to a restructure with a new manager. I have another one who had quite the journey where they were hired. She was hired. Her manager went on leave. So then she had a new temporary manager. Then her manager came back from leave, was no longer reporting to temporary manager, and then that manager was laid off after a short period of time. So now they're getting a new manager. So I have seen it from the client side and the personal side of what happens when you get a new manager. And so I want to just break down some things, because a lot of the times when we're thinking about our own future trajectory and our career path, we are a lot of the times told, like within these systems of corporate America, right, that either the organization or the business is going to have it laid out for you. Like, here are the steps: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot of the times companies don't have it laid out for you, especially even if it's a startup or it's somewhere that's just a little bit less structured and has more flexibility and fluidity of how you can get exposure. So there may be less structure within your organization of what a promotion looks like. So you may be like, wait a minute, no one's telling me the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the next piece is, a lot of the times we're told that our manager is going to lay it out for us. But a lot of the times our managers are not. And it's, it could be for a multitude of reasons. They haven't been explained it. They're not clear on it. They're so focused or being pressured on the business. It's not top of mind. And so when all that comes up, it's really up to us. And I know not everyone loves to hear that, but it really is up to us to decide what our trajectory looks like for our careers, even if it's inside of an organization to get a promotion. And I will talk about it as somebody who went through the hoops to get 11 promotions in 11 years. Let me tell you, it wasn't because I was just like hanging out and like working really hard. It had to be really tactical overall. And so that's what I break down for my clients. It's like, it's comes down to more like a recipe and a science at that point in time. And so when it comes to this piece, these are the things I kind of want to like just reiterate for you. It's like, maybe for you, it may be thinking about like, okay, once they're settled in, I'll bring it up. I don't want to bother them. But it's like, how many times can we wait for somebody to settle in? Like, how many times can a company change? Like, we can't let somebody else settling in be beholden to our future and what we're working towards, right? We don't want somebody coming in and wiping the slate clean for the last year or 6 months. And so especially when you are, someone, let's say, who is high achieving, you have a lot of goals set, we don't have time to give the new boss 3 to 6 months, right? We have to get them thinking about our career too and our trajectory as well. And so what I want you to think about is, what is actually happening here is like, your manager, when they start, your new manager, they're already starting to try to form an opinion, a perspective about you, about the team, about the company. And so that's typically your time when you need to come in and talk about what it is you've been working on. It's not time for you to wait. You want to be in there, while they are shaping their perspective and idea of what the team is and your skills and strengths. So that way, by the time they really get to know you, they have a real good idea of who you are and what you're doing, and that you can just not be someone who's on their team that's going to execute, but you're going to be actually a leader who's strategic, who can really be a partner. And so I want you to really listen in if it's something you've been kind of trying to calculate what is the right time to talk about a promotion with the new manager. I'm telling you it's now. So let's go ahead and break it down. So for phase one, the one thing I want to talk to you about is I call it the onboarding trap. And so you are probably instructed, and also how we typically feel, right? Like, oh, let me give them space, or like, let me be considerate of them and make sure they have enough time to get onboarded. But we can't let that happen, right? We can't let it be that we stay out of their way and we just work really hard and we hope that they see the results of that. Like, we have to actually communicate that to them. And so if you were going ahead and giving your manager the space, like for 3 months, 6 months, as they get onboarded, to let them figure it out while you continue to be the machine that's running everything behind the scenes, you're essentially training your manager that you're really a reliable doer and that you're just gonna get things done. So we can't have that be that you're just over functioning without their authority or their support and that you just make it happen. You have to actually build that authority and credibility for yourself. So it's not about being patient, because you're actually starting to become a little invisible, and all the tasks that you're doing are becoming invisible and have less weight to them. So what about part two, phase two here is like, how do we flip the script on that? And so what I want you to do is like, no, on day one of your manager starting, you don't have to be like, hey, give me a title, I need this. But you have to make sure that you are positioning yourself during their onboarding, not after it, that you're actually going to talk about a couple of things. The first thing you want to talk about is like decoding the gap. This is what I typically do promotion planning with my clients, and this is usually how we break it down in these phases. So the first part is decoding the gap. So figuring out where your new boss, where they need to build credibility. So they typically have been hired because there was a need, right? Either something wasn't working out with the old manager or something wasn't working out with your team. So they're coming in with a pretty focused goal of how they need to build credibility for themselves on the team. So maybe it's the relationship with a cross-functional department. Maybe it's sales, who knows? But you want to understand like what that gap is for them that they're trying to fill, because that's going to be part of our plan. The next piece is you want to be able to make sure whatever knowledge that you have is visible. We don't want you to like be quietly solving problems in the behind the scenes or just doing things business as usual. I want you to start documenting what it is that you're working towards. So that way you can go ahead and showcase to a new manager of, hey, this is how I'm actually, solving problems. This is how I'm catching things before they become a crisis. These will become business cases that show your impact that you are already driving. We don't have to create new projects for you to work on. Like, we should have a foundational, fundamental case before we start adding new projects. And so when you understand and decode what the gap is for them, for their credibility, for them to prove themselves, and you showcase where you have that knowledge and where it's visible and where you're solving those problems, and you bring those together, then you get to go ahead and pick a lane and think about what is it that I want to go for from a title perspective, from a role perspective, from the work perspective, and then you gather the evidence that helps support that you're already living and breathing and doing that, right? And how that's going to overall help support their gap that you have decoded. And so I just want to talk about this. I had a client who they were on leave. They came back and they walked into full chaos. Brand new manager. The cross-functional partners were not happy with the team whatsoever. The new manager was trying to figure it out, was definitely over their head. And so when they came in, they were trying to figure out like, okay, how do I like go ahead and organize things and make things happen? And then while she was figuring things out, she started to realize like, oh, wait a minute, like I have a lot of ability to affect change and to make things better. And I have really good relationships with these partners that right now are a little bit shaky. And so what we did was we mapped out not just her manager, but like who are the key stakeholders to get her a promotion? Who is it that she needs to go ahead and get that approved? And then also, what is the knowledge, the institutional knowledge that she has to get her into a senior level position, right? And to make a business case for her. And we realized that, wait a minute, she has so many different things, from relationships that she's developed with the cross-functional team that she has to move forward their goals, to different leaders on different teams, that she was like, oh, I actually have leverage by building out these relationships my manager needs in order to be successful, that I can help him leverage. And so identifying that was one piece. But the other piece was like, now how do I position that in order to get myself promoted? And what is the process for that? So we went ahead and locked that down very quickly, and she was ready to move on it. When she started to communicate this through, that's when the eyes perked up like, wait a minute, if I get this person what they want, I get them promoted, it's going to help the team overall. And I'm going to have somebody else who's going to strategic leadership position who can help me move this forward. And so then she went from just being the person who came back, putting things out on fire, to being someone who actually is going to move the business forward and help them as a new manager as well. And so the next and last piece when it comes to these three phases, right, which is, I'm just going to break it down one more time, the onboarding trap. I don't want to get stuck on the onboarding trap of a new manager when it comes to how to flip that script for them. The last piece is like, what's possible. So your new manager being new is not a reason to wait. It is your window, right? It's your window. They don't have to have they have no story about you yet, right? They're still figuring out who your team is and who you are. And so this is your time to showcase what it is that you have to offer and then to communicate that. So you get to shape the narrative right now. You don't have to wait for 3 or 6 months. And that way you can go ahead and you can move towards what it is you're working towards. That way they also know what they need to work towards. And so if you've already been operating at that level, it's time to question, are you actually packaging it the way that it needs to be packaged for this to happen? Are you making it undeniable? Because you are so overqualified before your manager even walked through the door. So do not wait another month, year, second, whatever it is. Go ahead and make it happen. And so this is what I want you to know, is that you are done being the best kept secret on your team. You don't have to be a secret or the person who just puts out all the fires. Now take that power of how you put out those fires, of how you have all those connections and build all those relationships, and make it happen. And so just know that I do this time and time again, all the time. And so if you're looking to finally stop just being the hardest worker and doing things behind the scenes and getting things done and being hopeful that something will happen, and you're not going to let a new manager stop you from getting promoted, and you want to know what it's like to work together, then I would say go ahead and go to danitan.com. That's DANITAN.com and book a discovery call. When you book a call with me, there is zero requirement or pressure to work together on the call. What the call actually looks like is for 30 minutes. I'm going through and I'm understanding what your goals are for the next 3 to 6 months, what it is you want to focus on, where you've been kind of stuck. And then through those 30 minutes, I'm starting to understand what would be the best way to support you. And then I give you a custom coaching plan of what it would look like to work together in 3 to 6 months. And then from there, you get to decide, okay, is it a good fit? And I will always be honest with you and let you know also if it's a good fit. But that's typically what it looks like to go on a discovery call. So go to the website, danitan.com, DANITAN.com, go to contact, book a discovery call with me. It's an hour long. For the first 30 minutes, we're going through the intake form that you've submitted when you went ahead to book a call. And then we'll go ahead and talk about what it's like to work together. And then from there, that's what it looks like. Typically work together for 3 or 6 months. That length of time typically depends on what it is you're trying to focus on and what you're trying to achieve. I'll always give you a recommendation and I'm always here for you. So hopefully you found this helpful, but I just want you to know that you don't need another 6 months. You just need to have tactics and a strategy to make it happen. And you were overqualified before they ever showed up. And so go ahead and make it happen for yourself and don't let it wait, because the thing is that every moment you wait, every week, every month, you are compounding a loss, right? A loss of the skills, the values, being able to showcase that for yourself. From a monetary perspective, you're losing what that increase would have been for you for your salary. And all of that stuff is going to compound for future you, right? Compound for future promotions, compound for future title increases, compound for future roles, compound for your future retirement, compound for your future salary, compound for all of those future investments within your life. And so that's why I care about this stuff so much. It's not just about, ooh, have a shiny title or ooh, get a promotion. It's about creating options for yourself, having the optionality. Because for me, when I was a sample coordinator way back when, and I was making $45,000 a year, going to making $250,000 a year, the reason why I did that wasn't because I needed to have a fancy title. Like, sure, that had importance and weight at points and times. But the real reason why was because I wanted to create financial freedom for myself. And I wanted to be able to create financial safety for myself. And so that was going to be able to happen for me by being able to make more money, by being able to move up. And once I did that and I was able to be smart and invest and save, I got to build a business where now I work with who I want to work with, when I want to work with them, from where I want to work with, so just knowing that I having that power and that freedom and that flexibility came from creating those options for myself in my corporate career. And I want that for you too. So we're in a system, we're working in a system. So make the system work for you. All right. Hopefully, you got some little gems out of here, and I will see you next week. Have a good one.